Haze Hour is sponsored by Janty, pioneers in e-cigs.
Nigel
Go. No, won't even go there.
No, don't go there.
No.
Hello, it's Thursday night.
Good evening.
It is Thursday night.
It is Thursday, yes.
Those of you that are watching live on the 360p channel, i.e. the main live page, you've just missed out on all of this. I'm sorry to say that, but you have. Bread with holes in the bottom, Nigella Lawson, and two grumpy old men talking about Nout, really, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
With the witch of Meshwick.
No, there was only Chris really had a sort of positive contribution to that, didn't she?
She's the only sane one amongst the three of us.
I think so, yes.
And I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah.
There you go. Tonight, new toys. And then second set of new toys, which is possibly more useful than the first new toy. And then Keith's had a challenge, which we're going to try and sort. We'll overcome your challenge with your vaporised Gemini. And if we have time, there might be a bit on the Vision Ego. And you might get to take something away with you.
Oh.
But that's only if we get the devil fingers out.
Oh, I'm not back to that.
Yeah. No?
No, I'm no good at that.
Oh well, the rest of you, bang your heat! Yes, indeed. Keith was just telling us a story. He'll have to tell us the rest during the first ad break.
Right, yes.
Yes, apparently he's been spotted out, I don't know, something along those lines. While you were away last week, gallivanting
Yes.
and enjoying yourself, I looked at this.
All right.
Not the top bit so much as that bit, and it's called a Zmax, or Zmax is how it's pronounced everywhere in the world but here, apparently.
Right.
Doesn't look too far. Well, I mean, it's kind of derived, I suppose, from the lava tube. Pardon me, windy pops. It's more of the cider taking its toll as it does. Nice little piece of kit is that. No good to you. You wouldn't understand it.
No. Well, you're right there.
Well, yes, but there's been some controversy about it all because it's power controlled. So what I thought I would do would be to have a look at it and scope it out. In a word, scope it out. And I thought it would be useful because I know you've had a tiring week from last week, so I thought, I know what I'll do. If I do this, Keith can have 5 or 6 minutes just gentle snooze.
Just nodding. Right,
Yes.
right.
That'll be alright.
That's fine by me, yes.
I'll play this in then, shall I?
Yes, I'll try and keep an eye on it and stay alert if I can.
Oh yes, stay alert.
Yes.
Stay alert. Your
Right.
country needs more alerts.
Right, Owen.
Alright.
Come on then.
I'm just making sure I've got the right one because you know me, I'll get the wrong one if I'm not careful. Are you ready?
Yes.
Technology just for you.
Right.
Gripping and exciting, isn't it?
Right. Yes.
You may remember that last week I took a look at the Zmax from Smock. It's the power controlled unit. Very nice piece of kit, and it's been working very nicely for me. You may also be aware that there's been some controversy about its pulse width modulation and whether or not the wattages and voltages and what have you are accurate. Now, I did say at the time I only use it in power controlled mode, but I've linked it up now to my scope, an oscilloscope, so that we can look at the waveform and see what's happening, just to try and explain it a little bit to you. So let's go there and see if we can't see what's going on. Now, as you'll see on here, There are numbers on the right hand side and there are 2 traces there. Ignore the purple one because the one we're looking at is the blue. Okay, and you will see when I press the button, as now, that there are pulses being formed, as you can see. Now if you look at the figures down the right hand side, let me try and talk you through what those are now that it's turned off. Going from the bottom, the RMS value at 4.08 volts, that is basically the voltage this thing's running at. The duty cycle, DUT, third up, is 85 point, it's around about 86%, and you can see that happening. Okay, and you can also see it knocking off every so often. You can also see the frequency of the pulses, about 49 Hertz, 50 Hertz, there or thereabouts. The maximum voltage going further up towards the top is around about 5.12 volts. And the RMS value, as we see it down at the bottom, 4 volts. What I am noticing on this is that the top of the waveform, as you can see, is far from flat, and there are spikes here, there and everywhere. Now the average voltage that's in there is calculatable, given where the max is, where the min is, which is minus 0.5 volts. So maybe calibration's slightly out. It shouldn't be given a minus anything. But that's kind of how it's running. Whether or not this means anything to a lot of people is probably up for debate. But the fact is that the Zmax, not the VMAX, the Zmax does appear to be working pretty much like it says on the tin. Given that I've got this set to 8.5 watts, I'm pretty sure that's where it's at. Let's stick it under the camera and see. So let's just pop that up. Yeah, 8.5 watts. And doing the calculations, I know the resistance of the atomizer in here, and the 8.5 watts is actually where I would expect it to be. What we can do, of course, is connect it back up and drop the wattage and see how it works in terms of the actual figures that it produces. So in order to do this, I'm going to drop it down to 5 watts, and then let's go and see what happens when we look at the scope and see what the figures are. And pressing the button, you will see an RMS value of 3.5, 3.6, there or thereabouts. A max is still 5.12, but there you go. That was the timeout happening. Let's give it one more blast and see that it's down to 3.52 after it does that first initial check on what resistance it's seeing. So one more time, and 3.6 for 5 volts, for 5 watts. Now I'm here to tell you that that probably isn't accurate. It isn't accurate in any way, shape or form. It's not delivering 5 watts. I do not think that it has the capacity to go down that low. So what I said last week is true. If you're looking at something kind of 7 watts and above, then the Zmax is going to do the trick for you. If you're looking at something that's going to be really low, I don't see it going much below 3.6 volts in RMS terms. I will also say that RMS and V average should be about the same for a DC current. But there you go. This basically was a public service announcement for Keith so he could have a nap. Back to the studio. And you did, didn't you?
Mesmerising.
I thought you'd enjoy that. Did you understand any of it?
A little bit. I mean, I think that's the most technical demonstration. I mean, you know, into all these charts and graphs now.
Yes.
I mean, what we've got to remember is that the majority of people who use e-cigarettes are ex-tobacco smokers.
Generally speaking.
Yes. So they open their cigarette packet, they take out a cigarette, you know, they have a preferred brand and they light it.
Yes.
And every week we seem to be getting devices that are more and more technical. Yeah, they will appeal to certain people, but you know, I'm still of the view that the vast majority of people want simplicity and reliability.
Yes.
But maybe, you know,
No,
speaking...
I think you're exactly right. And last week when I was looking at that, I did say that, you know, it will appeal to a certain class of user, a
Yes.
certain type of user. If you're kind of heavily technical and you want to know the far end of it, where it came from, what flavoured it and what caused it, then the Zmax is probably going to be nothing but a pain in your backside, because you'll be constantly wondering whether it's delivering what it says on the display, and that would bug you and worry you if you were that kind of person. If you're the kind of person that just wants to say, well, actually, it's brilliant when I've got it set to 8.5, and I like it there, and that seems to be great for everything, it would suit you down to the ground, you know?
Yes.
Because you've got the ability to find the level at which you want to be, like with the Darwin, like with the Kick, like with the Nivelle chip, he said, enunciating very carefully after last night, and anything else where you can set, if you like, the final temperature of the coil. And all that allows you to do really is fine tune the equipment you have, whether it's you know, a Penelope, whether it's an NGP, whether it's any of the other kinds of tanks, a Vision Ego, or any of those things. You can fine tune it so it does what you want it to do the way you want it to do it, if you're into that. If you're not into faff at all, then patently it isn't for you. If you don't like faff, then you're not going to want that level of flexibility. You'll find something that you like and you'll stick with it, probably. Unless you've got, you know, unless you've got the neighbour from hell that keeps on feeding you various different devices to play with.
Well, I mean, you know, you wonder, maybe I am part of a minority that's
oh no,
just
you're part
looking...
of the majority. You are part of the majority. What a lot of people don't realise, 95% of the people that are using e-cigs in the UK don't know that Vapor Trails exists, don't know that any of the forums exist. They go to where they got their first e-cig from and they buy what those people sell them.
Yes, yes.
That's it.
I hadn't looked at that dimension of it, but yes, thinking about what you've just said,
which, you know,
that's got to be right, hasn't it?
So when you look at somebody that does what I'm doing, getting scopes out and scoping these things out, we probably represent 0.001% of the population of e-cig users throughout the world. We are the uber geeks that want to know the far end of and where it came from, what flavoured it and what caused it and stuff like that. In actual fact, if I'm to be absolutely honest about it, it really doesn't make any difference. If it does what you want it to do, then that's all you need to be bothered about.
Yet there must be a fair audience in terms of people buying those, otherwise they wouldn't make them.
There is.
You know, irrespective of how many people watch shows, there must be a significant number of people who buy those devices through looking at the internet or whatever.
Yes, oh, absolutely, absolutely. There'll be a lot of people who've gone and bought any one of these, and Lord knows there's plenty.
Well, there's a selection up there.
There's a good selection of stuff here. There'll be people that have gone and bought them because they look interesting, perhaps just because they're shiny, and they'll pick them up. And if they do, if they give them the experience that they want, they will be happy with them. There are some of us though, and I'm one of them. I'm one of the biggest culprits, I suppose. I just like to know what makes them tick, and I like to check what it says on the tin.
Yes.
And if it does what it says on the tin, brilliant. If it doesn't do what it says on the tin, but it still does a pretty good job and does what I want it to do, whether it says it'll do it on the tin or not, that's pretty good as well in my book. Where I get really annoyed is where it just doesn't do what it says on the tin. You know, when you see that something like that, and he said holding it up and making sure the name was hidden, when something like that is advertised as being equivalent to 60 cigarettes, there's no way that is going to do what it says on that particular tin, and that really, really annoys me. And I'm sorry to hold that one up. It's one that Keith's brought in, but trust me, I wasn't talking about that one necessarily, because there have been no claims made for that one. But yeah, I mean, you know, going into that kind of thing we can do, I can do that quite easily. But I think probably what will happen in the longer term, in terms of certainly the Haze Hour, I might just spin off a little show called e-cig technology, where we just go into it for the geeks. We'll probably have an audience of about 5.
No, I think you get more than that.
I don't know. I think a lot of people are just interested in, does it work when you press the button? Does everything taste nice and vape nice when you use it? And does it look nice if I take it out with me? And if I drop it, will it still work? I mean, there you go. Those are the 4 major things. That's what you look at, isn't it?
Well, I don't look at what it looks like.
Go here.
No, I'm not particularly bothered what it looks like,
All right.
provided it isn't of that size.
Oh, it's the size. Size is important.
I mean, you know, look at that. How long have I had that?
They can't. Oh, you can't.
Sorry.
Yes. No, it's a
Tornado T.
Your Tornado T with a CE4
Yes.
on top.
Never ever let me down. I must have had that 18 months, 2 years.
I'll tell you what, you're singing a song that I think probably 95% of people that have ever used a Tornado or an Ego can sing the same song.
I mean, I don't even know, do they still make them?
Yeah.
Very reliable, that.
Well, that's exactly as it should be. They should always be reliable. And I'm just going to say, if you're not really into faff, you're not going to like the second half very much.
No, I'm polite. I'll watch it. And
Yes.
Yes.
Or you'll understand it.
Good.
That'll be good
Right.
that way. But while we're on, how have you been getting on with the Raptor tank? And how have you been getting on with the Gemini, the vaporised Gemini?
Well, the Gemini, an excellent smoke. The one thing you've got to watch is making sure that you recharge it every night. And last night, because I was late in, etc., I forgot to recharge
what's the
it.
etc. exactly?
Well, I was in late. I'd been to a party.
And had you had a few libations?
Not all that many,
Oh.
but
Could you count them
yeah,
on one hand?
I was late, and it completely slipped my mind. The one problem I've had with it is the refilling.
All right.
Which, if you remember, you demonstrated a few weeks ago.
I did indeed.
The business of putting the juice into the little plastic container and
pressing down into it.
Pressing down.
Didn't work for you.
That doesn't seem to work for me.
Well, let's show you the other way, shall I?
And
we'll go to that shot.
That's the one. I won't call it a fault.
Well, it's a bugbear. All you need to do, focus. Oh, here we go. The incredible. There we go. All you need to do is get something of a reasonable, because the tops of these are quite stiff, and just lever it out. It's not the easiest job.
Although presumably you're not supposed to do that. That's not the recommended way.
Well, people that sell pre-filled cartomizers would much prefer that you continued to buy the pre-filled cartomizer when the one you were using's run out.
Yes, point taken. Yes.
If you take the lid off your RY High 5 there, dear boy, one of the reasons actually that it doesn't fill awfully well with the condom method, you can see right in the centre there, if you look at the screen you might see it, but there's an actual tube that goes up the centre of it.
Yes.
And I think what tends to happen, no matter which side you fill it from, the top actually gets very, very, very close to that filler material that's in there.
Yes.
And it more or less just goes straight up one end and out the other. So all you really need to do is just drip a few drops in and just keep rotating it.
Round the sponge, yes.
Round the sponge, yeah, pretty much. And it'll soak in its own sweet time. You can see there, look. And I just tend to keep my finger across the bottom and just give it a chance to soak in. If it's not soaking particularly quickly, I have been known to just have a little bit hoke. Aha, that's why. That there, that plastic thing is the reason why. Alright, it's a little washer that fits on the top and stops it from, you can see underneath how dry that substrate is underneath. You see?
Right,
you can
so
see the tube that's
what
going
you're
down.
saying is you should take the washer out as well.
Take the washer out as well, drip the juice in, and you'll see that just soaks in. You can see how quick that's soaking in now. It's dropping straight in. And it'll take probably 15 to 20 drops, I would think, something like that.
So really what you're saying is, as far as the manufacturer's concerned, they're not made to be refilled. You just it's a disposable thing.
They are meant to be completely disposable. Yes, that's the whole gist of them. Now that will go back in. You might jag your tongue on the end of that.
You see, I tried to get that out, and I was frightened that it wasn't coming out. I was frightened I damaged it.
Yeah, I can understand that. But I mean, you know, if you do damage it, if it does break off or anything like that, then you can quite happily take an ordinary drip tip, which of course I can't get that one out of there. You take a drip tip and bung it in, and it'll work just as well.
Right. Right.
So it is very much a case of getting the top and that little washer out to fill
because
it up.
as I say, I've been very impressed with the performance of it. Apart from that,
I must admit I have seen you walking about taking a drag off it now and then.
Yes.
Not that I've been staring through your windows or anything.
No, of course
like that.
not.
No, I wouldn't dream of that. And I've just noticed we are way past where we should have had the first ads.
Right.
So we'll take a swift ad break, and then when we come back, we'll be doing another piece, new toys, but not toys as such, tools, new tools. And again, you might not enjoy it all that much, but anybody that's got a rebuildable atomizer such as an Odysseus or a Penelope or anything that kind of works that way, you will be. This is good. See you in 2 ticks.
The Haze Hour is brought to you by Janty, pioneers in electronic smoking. iVapor and iVapor Elixir, based in Yorkshire, for your e-cig needs. That's ivapor.co.uk and ivapor-elixir.co.uk. iVapor and ivapor-elixir.co.uk, proud sponsors of vaportrails.tv. And now back to the Haze Hour, sponsored by Janty.
And we're back in the room.
Yes.
Yes.
There we are. Well, thank you for that.
Oh, that's okay. The thought did occur to me as well that if that washer that's at the top of this is causing the issue, if you go and do a condom fill so that the thread end goes into the condom, you might have a little more luck.
Right.
So that's worth trying as well, because obviously filling from the top, which is my preferred route, if that's not going to work, then going in so that the condom goes up the threads like that might work.
We could try that.
It's
yes.
worth a try. But otherwise, just whip the top off. It's the easiest way, I would think. Have you got some condoms?
Yes, thank you.
Cool. I'll hit that shot again, because people might notice that there. This is the subject of the next piece of footage we have.
Right.
Now, bear with me on this one. There's a reason behind all of this. And again, those of you that know Kat, will know that occasionally she finds things, as I do, a bit fiddly. And if you're a person of a certain age, well, I'm not saying she is, be very careful here, because
Yes.
she's on the other end of the line, and I wouldn't put it past her to jump into the car and come down and smack us one.
Right.
The thing about it is when you're messing about with the wires for something like the Odysseus or the Penelope, you've got to join 2 bits of wire and sometimes 3 bits of wire together in order to make the bit that does the job. You remember
Yes.
that? And there comes a point where you can't feel what you're doing, and if you haven't got your right glasses on, you cannot see what you're doing. And to some degree, you're working in the dark.
I can relate to that.
Yes. And twisting 2 bits of wire together to make a proper joint, it just got a little bit difficult. So I was perusing the other day the All About e-cigs forum.
All right.
And credit where it's due, I saw reference to these. And these are Sterling Silver Mini Crimps that somebody was using to crimp their bits of wire together.
It's because from here I thought it was a silver chain, you know, from a distance. That's
Trust
what it
me,
looks
it's
like.
even smaller than that. If I was to, well, you'll see. Look, instead of gassing on about it, why don't I play the video?
Yes.
And then you can see how it all comes together. Because I've already done all of this, so it doesn't make any sense saying it all again.
It doesn't, no.
So here's what I filmed earlier. These have just arrived in the post. They are tiny little wee micro crimps, and the idea is to use them to make up pre-built coils. So let's see if we can sort this out. And I'm going to start by threading the resistance wire in, and then trying to thread the no resistance wire through. This is not going to be easy. It really is very, very small. There we go. Whoops. That's it, the 2 are through. Now this is pretty much a first time, so I've got no idea whether I'm even remotely getting this right. So now I'm going to have to crimp. I have the feeling that if I come in from this angle, I'll get the angles I need. It's so small. Alright, just checking it. It's not completely solid. There is some slight movement there, so I need to find a way of really gripping tight. Right. And that still has some slide on it. Still has a lot of slide on it actually. So I'm just wondering whether it's a good idea I'm thinking it might need a better pair of pliers than I'm using, something that's got a bit more push. It definitely needs a bit more push. We'll give it another go. That's it. That's got it. That's now solid. It's not going anywhere. So now I need to meter out and find out how long a distance I'm going to need, and you can do that from anywhere on the silvery bit, because that silver is non-resistant, and just find the right distance down here. And about there is where I want to be. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, I've put a kink in the resistance wire, so I'm going to cut that slightly longer. Alright, a lot longer. And then, having done that, pick up the other crimp. These are so small. And then I'll also need another piece of non-resistant wire, and then connect that up. And trust me, this is not easy. I'll try to do it the same way. It's only not easy because my eyesight is so bad. Alrighty. So now I've got that connected up, I know where my mark is, and I can go ahead and crimp. Like I say, this is very, very much a first attempt. Alright, so there's my crimping bead in place. As you can see, ready to go, and on with the pliers and brute force and ignorance. A good press, because it does have to hold. A little tug and we're fine. Okay, so now at this point, as you can see, there are big lumps of wire lying spare, so the thing to do is to just trim. Now I don't mind the the resistance wire coming past a little bit further, because that's just going to lie down the channels in whatever I use, and it'll either be an Odysseus or a Penelope. Haven't made my mind up yet, but I don't want to carry the non-resistance wire too far through. Okay, and I can just snip that off, possibly a little bit too long, but there you go. That's it, done. And that should, in theory, wind very nicely, thank you, onto whatever device I'm going to use. So let's look at making the coil, shall we? So here's my wick, here's my newly made coil blank, and all I need to do, in theory, is just hold that there and wind the coil much as you would usually do. This is 0.2 Canthal, so it's quite, there we go. Job is, as they say, a good one, and that seems to be holding quite nicely, thank you. The next job is going to be fitting that to the device of choice, and in this case it'll be an Odysseus. And here is the Odysseus ready to go. So, usual routine, or my usual routine anyway, is to slip the coil into the slots like so, making sure that there's nothing to get in the way of anything, and then wind the positive side into place, having made sure it's right down in that little channel. like so. Tighten that up. And as you can see, it lies in the channel perfectly. So that side of the wick will cover it, and as you can see, there's nothing getting in the way there. And then we do exactly the same on this side, but this time I like to bring it out a tad to there, so that you can see that the wire is just slightly over the top. Again, push it all down, make sure it all fits, and the retaining ring goes on. And as you screw it down, you can see nothing's catching anywhere. A little bit of fluffiness there as the wick goes down. Kind of used to that. And then we need to chop off at the right length. There. Snip that off. There. And snip that off. There. And this, of course, as per usual, stays long. Push everything up together as it should be, and in we go into the base. And we keep on going until that bottom part is just slightly proud, as it is now, and then snug this retaining ring down quite tight. And the easy way to do it, I found, is to get that trapped and then just give it a tiny little wee turn, and that should sort it out. At which point in time, wibbly wobbly, job's a good one. Now to test it, juice it up, plenty of juice on, connect it to a device. In this case I'm going to use my Zmax. And it's set to something really low, and lo and behold, look at that, working perfectly. The next check always is to screw the mouthpiece on and screw it right down. That way you'll know if there are any shorts. And as you can hear, there's not, and it's working perfectly, which means the job's a good one. So I can stick the tank rather, back on. I'll take it off the device first, and yes, and I know my cloth's manky. Screw it all up. I use a cloth because my hands get really covered in juice while I'm doing this kind of stuff, and they get slippy, and even if they're not covered in juice I get sweaty. And then we can top that up with juice, because we know I've already closed that down. And this is the big beast, by the way, full size, expanded, super duper. And I still do like the Odysseus an awful lot. I think it gives lovely flavour, lovely vapour. I use it if I'm going out for any great length of time. That's full. Put the cap back on, as you do. Now you might have noticed I didn't meter that out, and the reason I didn't meter it out was because it's going on a power controlled device, and if it's going on a power controlled device, it doesn't really matter as long as I'm within the range of around about, I don't know, 2.2 to maybe 3.5 ohms. It'll do. And I know how much canthal I need in order to get that, and in fact that metered out when I was crimping up at about 3 ohms, there or thereabouts, close enough for jazz. So let's clag that onto the Zmax, and I'm going to take it, crank it back up to where I was at 8.5 watts, and let's give the juice control ring a little turn just to let some juice in and give it a blast. And that is as delightful as you're going to get. So you can use these little crimp beads to make as many up ahead of time as you want, and once you've got the dimensions right, if you're using the same width of wire, you make as many as you like, get 20 or 30 going, keep you going for a year. They're £9 for 500. £9 from 500, but just so you can see them one more time before I disappear, you get a bag that size. I've got no intention of counting them, but they are the 1mm outside diameter, 0.7mm inside diameter micro crimp, and they are pure sterling silver. So there you go. Right, enough from me, back to the studio. There you go, easy as.
Yeah, probably showing my ignorance here. Why has it got to be sterling silver?
2 reasons. One, sterling silver is probably the most conductive metal that's easily available, and right. 2, it's soft enough that with the right pliers, and I've found the pliers to use. I've used my Leatherman ones, and if I go to that shot there, you'll see what looks like jewellery, but I knocked those out in 10 minutes with the right pliers. Dead easy to crimp.
Right.
Dead easy to crimp. And this is the beastie that's got the coil in, which I've stuck on the GG. And that's alright, that.
Yes.
Do you want to go? You're going to give us it back, though.
Well, I'll give you a back. Yes.
Worth the faff.
Nice.
Cheers.
Yes, I was
once I tell you what, I knocked those 4 out in under 10 minutes. Once I'd found the right way to crimp them, and yeah, I mean £9, they'll keep you going for I don't know how long. Be warned though, they are tiny.
Yeah, well, you know, looking at them sort of in the flesh, God, they are.
I mean, seriously, that's narrower than a hypodermic needle you would use for filling a cartridge up or anything like that. Really, really, really small. While Keith does his best to focus on those, we better take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll have a bit natter about the Vision Ego.
All right.
Which is currently on offer for £4.50, you know.
Right.
Back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere.
The Haze Hour is brought to you by Janty, pioneers in electronic smoking. And now back to the Haze Hour, sponsored by Janty.
Aye, we were just chatting, weren't we, while we were
Yes.
going through the adverts. Those little crimps are so small, they're absolutely teeny tiny. But if you can thread a needle without the use of glasses or a magnifying glass, you won't have any bother with them. The only thing that you do have to work out is that it does take quite a good press to get them to crimp and hold. But seriously, it's not difficult to do.
Well, seeing them sort of in the flesh as against on the screen, you get a greater appreciation of how tiny they are.
Well, yes, I must admit, looking at them in the flesh and looking at them, I'm dead pleased with myself that I've managed to do that.
I'll probably need to have a lens on a stand or something
Big
like
magnify.
that.
Well,
yes.
We are old.
Yes. Well,
We are old.
I am. I don't know about
Well,
you.
more
but,
experienced, I believe, is the politically correct term.
well, you could put it that way.
Indeed.
Yes.
Shall we have a look at the Vision Ego?
Yes.
I have one here, a Top and an Odyssey, just to confuse everybody, which I've been using for the last few days quite nicely, and well, more than a few days. They actually arrived with me about 3 weeks ago,
Right.
and the claim on the tin, what it says on the tin is that they won't leak.
Right.
I've had it upside down, I've had it on its side, it's just been chucked wherever, and it's right. I haven't had a leak, not one leak. In all other respects, they're very, very similar to what we've seen before. In that, well, let's pull this one to bits. I'm not going to do a full tear down on it, because if I do, I'll just get it all wrong. I'm here to tell you, I cut my fingernails, you know, because somebody was reckoning that they looked a bit manky, which is true, they did. But in all other respects, it is pretty much what you would expect. You can see the construction of the whole thing inside. It's got the replaceable coil assembly with the wicks and what have you hanging off, and there would appear to be two different sizes of wicks, what looks like a 2.5mm and what looks like a mil. Two different size wicks in there. It is graduated on the side again, which some people like, some people don't. Usual routine: screw and unplug, fill it up in the usual manner by just pouring liquid in down the side. Works just as easily as anything, and bingo bango bongo, off you go. Like I say, I've had this one on here and actually on various different devices for the last 3 weeks. I've chucked it about everywhere, and it will not leak. It does not leak, but it performs. You might like that juice. Slightly fruity.
That is a nice juice.
It is. And knowing the way you like the Raptor tank, I mean, it's like a baby Raptor tank, isn't it, really? No leaky.
Yeah. So is it fitted with some kind of sealant, washer or something like that stops that?
I suspect it's what I've come to know as imified. I think the world's supply of O-rings has been used in various different parts on here. It does appear to be properly constructed. All of the joints are good and tight. I'm not seeing any issue with any of the joints. There's a lovely knurling at the base of it here to get hold of. That knurling is really nice. The air slots are cut into the base. I mean, you can see, you would normally expect to see shed loads of juice down there. I normally get it down at the bottom end on various different things. Not a drop. And I've overfilled it as well, I'm here to tell you. I filled it right the way up to just where the mouthpiece would hit.
So even overfilled?
Even overfilled. I mean, you know, if somebody says it's not going to leak, what are you going to try and make it do?
Leak.
Of course you are. And if it says fill it up to the top mark, you're going to overfill it because somebody will. And you try to find out in what circumstances will it not do what it says on the tin. And you know, it's a bit like Mythbusters, really. You know, you test the myth, and if you can't kind of make it work, you go keep on going till you do. And I haven't been able to make it leak. Not in any way, shape or form. Now, knowing how much juice you get through, I'm going to give you that one to use. I'm good that way.
Yeah.
They're at safercigs.co.uk, in case you hadn't fathomed. I don't need to put a... I don't need to put
£4.50.
£4.50 at the moment at Safer Cigs. I checked just before the show. £4.50 at Safer. You can buy an atomizer for that, and I made a tank. See if you can fill it then. You've got your juice there. Do you want to... No, I'll not make you do
No,
it.
don't make me do that.
I'll not make you do it underneath the... There you go. Good squeeze. That'll take more of a squeeze than you used to, I think, because I know you've never filled a Raptor tank. I'm just interested. I'm interested to find out how many weeks of full fill on the Vision Eagle last year. How long have you had that Raptor tank?
I can't remember now.
You can't have used it much in this last week because we're at...
Well, I haven't. Not in the
off,
last week.
It started off with 8 mils in it, and it's now down to 3.5.
Yeah, well, I put that...
Oh, you get a bit more in there
I'll
yet.
put-
Get a bit more in. Don't be shy. It's your juice. That'll do you. Yeah, that's full. You might even want to suck a bit out now. That'll be fine. It hasn't gone above the white plastic bit, so it'll be fine. It will not leak. Push it in, screw it down. That's it. Then you could stick it on your Ego and give it a blast. On your Tornado, Ego Tornado. I tell you what, it's wicking brilliantly wherever the juice is in there. I've filled it about 5 times now. In between throwing it into handbags, pockets. I've had it rattling about on the car seat. I've chucked it everywhere trying to make it leak and it won't.
Mm.
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 Well, I'll keep that on there. And
Yes, you do.
yes,
that. You
and
keep that
that's-
on there. As clearomisers go, I rate these at £4.50. They're well worth a buy. If you're not in, I mean, it's kind of rebuildable because you can replace that insert in the
Yes.
inside. But yeah, I mean, brilliant stuff. Absolutely cracking
no,
stuff.
you'd have thought it would have cost more than that.
You would. Well, it did, but it's on sale. It's on offer. Now's the time to buy. Bazillions of them. Absolutely bazillions of them.
Nice, huh?
Where will you be on October the 13th, Keith?
I don't know. Till I've checked my diary, which I haven't got with me.
Oh dear. See, that's never good, is it?
It isn't.
It's never good.
That, and where did you say it was at? The...
I'll try and show you, shall I?
Right.
If I can find the right piece of... the right piece. I think it's this one. That's
All right.
South Shields
Aye.
Hill, the north. On the front, near that yellow
I'm
stuff
trying-
that's got the blue stuff behind it.
I can't see it when I've gone along the seafront. I'm trying...
Do you know where Bent's Park is?
Yes.
More or less straight opposite there. Just come back a bit.
Which is on the left, isn't it? If you were going from Sunderland.
Yes.
Right.
You would
yes.
go past the Marsden Grotto on your
Yes.
right hand side, which I think
Yes.
is shut now.
Is it? Oh, I didn't know that.
Carry on down the Great North
Yes.
Run, right?
Yes.
Go past the Great North Run finish, hang a right at the roundabout, down onto the front. You've got the place down on the front where all the boys and girls used to fumble and fertile.
Did they? Oh, well.
Have you never been fumbling and fertling?
Not down there, no.
Where did you go?
I knew you'd say that.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So, and then when you get to the fumble and fertile hut with the little doodah on the top, it's just along from there.
Right.
Looks like a railway train. That's why it's called the Rattler.
So it'll be something like that one that's at Seaburn.
Yeah, only it's in
Yes.
South Shields.
Yes.
Yes,
Quite.
that's the
yes,
one. That's the
yes,
place to go.
Right.
That's October the 13th. There'll be all kinds of people there.
And it starts in the afternoon, you were
Starts
saying?
at 3 o'clock, or 5 past, or half past, or whatever time you get there, Keith.
Oh, right.
We'll not start the party proper till you get there.
God almighty. Right, yes.
Because you never know. There might be people there that have got mobile phones that do the internet.
Don't go in. Don't go there. Don't go there.
You'll have to, if you want to know that story, and it's worth knowing. Keith's refused point blank to tell it on air, haven't you?
Well, I have, yes.
He has.
I don't-
He's refused, but you'll have to. If we'll get him there, we'll get you there. I'll have a word with Vicky. I'll get you a pass out,
Right.
so you can go to the Rattler, and well, we might have a few sherbets.
Well, if
Mr.
I
Herbert.
can manage it, my brother-in-law would probably...
Oh, that'd be
'cause
brilliant.
he's into e-cigs, yes.
Well, there you go. Then we'll have everybody there. So if you turn up, it'd be lovely to see them all, wouldn't it? It'd be brilliant. It would. We've rattled through the show, haven't we?
Yes.
If you can stop fumbling and fertling, you've got 2 minutes left to go.
Pardon?
Did you hear that? If you can stop fumbling and fertling, you've got 2 minutes left to go.
Oh, that's us told.
That's us told. Hey,
Yes.
what?
2 minutes to go.
2 minutes to go. That means that I'm just checking my watch, because sun, moon and stars can go wrong.
You
but
might have
nobody's-
time to knead your bread.
Oh, I need some bread. I need something. Hey, it has been an absolute pleasure, hasn't it?
It has.
It's been brilliant.
A good night.
It's been a very good night. And those of you that were with us in what we laughingly call the pre-show, I do apologise, but we're not going to do a show on bread makers, are we?
I don't think so.
I don't think
Leave
so.
that to Nigella.
No, leave that to Nigella, as you so correctly
Yes.
say. From Keith,
Good night.
from Kat. Nah, she didn't pick
No.
up on it. From all of us, we'll see you next time. Take
Bye.
care. Bye bye.
Good night.
The Haze Hour was sponsored by Janty, pioneers in electronic cigarettes.